Welcome back as we still broadcasting from the Nelson Mandela capture site here in Howick, and this is World Tourism Day, and of course you're seeing a lot of people from the tourism industry that are here. There was a meeting between the respective MECs from the different provinces that are discussing tourism and putting it at the top of their agenda. Unfortunately, in the first hour we heard from the tourism minister that the figures are not looking great at the moment, and that's not good news for South Africa. That tourism really does add to the bottom line of the GDP of South Africa, and there's so much to offer, and yet unfortunately some of the bad publicity that's been coming from South Africa has been hampering tourist bookings, whether it be protests, whether it be the violence, seeing the army on the streets in Cape Town, the gender-based violence, the crime rate, you name it, all of this unfortunately putting a little bit of a dampener on tourism. So a shout out from the minister that we all need to work together. Well, let's turn to positive things, however. I've heard from producers that this particular place that we're standing at, the Nelson Mandela capture site and the museum that has subsequently opened with this magnificent art structure behind us, which we've been taking photographs of and making sure that we get the exact angle so that we can actually see how it works and how it suddenly just comes into focus if you're standing in one specific spot, is beautiful. And apparently this is a hive of activity for tourists, and it really is something special to come and see. And if you haven't been here, please come and visit it, as well as the areas around. I'm also going to invite into shot here with us Ayanda Nyadeni. He's a tour guide here, and of course Christopher Till, who is an operator and has been working on this Nelson Mandela capture site and museum for 10 years now? 10 years. Christopher, great to have you. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm talking about it being a hive of activity for tourists and people love coming here. Is this it? Was yesterday just sort of out the blue, or does it always happen that way?
No, it's an incredibly well visited site. As you've said, we've been working on it for a long time, but the first phase was an exhibition of Nelson Mandela in a shed on this property which we renovated, and then 7 years ago, on the 50th anniversary of Nelson Mandela's arrest here, we erected the sculpture by Marco Cianfanelli, and within a week it had flashed around the world. For some reason it's just taken people's attention, and they love it. They love coming here, and we were very excited recently to see that on the 50 Rand note, the new 50 Rand note, the Nelson Mandela, this sculpture is on that note. So we get an enormous number of international tourists as well as local tourists and many school children, and what it's done for the area is also quite extraordinary. The buses never came onto the Midlands meander until the sculpture arrived, and now we get tour buses, we get overlanders, we get school buses, and I think people have just they respond to the fact that the sculpture is a spiritual experience in a way. It's called Release by Marco Cianfanelli. It's made up of 50 poles, as you can see, and it only comes into focus at a particular place, almost where we're standing now. Yeah. And I think that the idea that Nelson Mandela disappeared from public view at this space for 27 years, he came back again and was unveiled a little plaque across the road, and he is now not with us any longer. So you come down to this long walk to freedom, the sculpture comes into focus with his face, and as you then move closer, it dissipates again. So it's almost a spiritual experience of him being here but not being here.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really is, and it's so beautifully put, and the designer behind this says it's just incredible. It really is. Now, Ayanda, you're working here, and we talk about how it's benefited a lot of the community, and you're the first face that people encounter as they come and visit here. You're one of the tour operators. Talk to us about how you got into this, and what it's done for your life to have something like this in your area.
Thank you so much for an opportunity. I think I'm very honored, and I am privileged to work here at the capture site, at the Nelson Mandela capture site. The first beneficiary for me was to have an opportunity, to have a job, to be able to provide for a family under the tourism industry. And the second one, I think, which is the main one for me, is to meet people from all over the world, to do meet and greets to different cultural groups. So I think that makes me learn every day. So you never stop learning if you are here on the site. And the beneficiary, which is also the most important for me, is to embrace the history of South Africa, to be able to tell other people, the youth that come here, the school children, the tourists that come here to enjoy this sculpture, this beautiful sculpture, is to tell them about where we come from, and then about our history, about our struggle. So I think I am very privileged to have that opportunity to be the face of the Nelson Mandela Capture Site.
Tell me, the kind of tourists that you get here, where do you find that they mostly come from in the world?
Nelson Mandela is a global icon. People from all over the world, they come here. I cannot mention just one country, but people from all over the world, they come here. We all admire him. We all appreciate the efforts that he did when he conducted his peace talks. So people from all over the world come here on the site to enjoy this beautiful sculpture.
Fantastic. So no country left unturned when it comes to the effect of Nelson Mandela, but hopefully mostly locals also come here. That's important. So we've got the museum, which is already open, but there will be an official opening, or am I getting this all wrong?
No, it's not open yet.
So it's not open yet, the museum?
No. Recently we've constructed this new visitor centre and museum, which will replace the little shed and the rather tired exhibition that's in there at the moment.
So it's an exhibition.
Yes, and it's a leap into the future in a way, because we have a 360-degree film in the space, and it's an immersive experience. And then a long light table with the history of the struggle in KZN principally, and the footsteps of Nelson Mandela in it. It's designed originally by Jeremy Rose, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but he's considered as to be one of South Africa's foremost architects. And we hope within the next, say, 2 to 3 weeks, we will open the doors to the public. And the idea is to come onto the site, go through that experience, which gives you an insight into what took place in that immersive experience, and then come down to the sculpture. But that is about the third phase of a master plan, which will include much more. It will include a botanical garden, it will include an amphitheatre, it will include a skills development centre, and we want to make this place a very energetic and interactive place for people to come. So it's not just the sculpture, but it's the development of tourism in a big way, engaging the local community. We have the YES program as part of what we do here, and that is a program where young people are paid to come and work with us. We have, I think, 25 young people here who we're training, and that is an ethos of what we want to make this place be. It's a living place for an iconic figure.
Beautiful. Sounds so wonderful, and I can't wait to go and get catch a glimpse in there as well. I'm going to get that preview, I hope. I hope. Listen, it's been wonderful. Thank you so very, very much for being with us here on the program and chatting to us. And Ayanda, I'm so happy that your life has changed with just this one location that has really changed you and your family's lives. Ayanda Nyadeni, a tour guide here, and Christopher Till talking to us about the Nelson Mandela Capture Site, and just a fantastic place for you to visit. Never mind, the whole area is so beautiful as you come into that Midlands meander. Really lovely. Let's take a break. We've got one final interview for you after this. Stay tuned.